Computer's not cooperating. All right, so so happy you guys are here. So today is a really important day because it's Earth Day, and it happens to be the new moon in Taurus, which is really appropriate that it's in Taurus because Taurus is about the earth, right? Mother Nature, and it's Earth Day. So it's also the most powerful new moon of the year. So it's an amazing time to create what you want, to create the new. So I thought that this light language was going to be all about that, something about that, about new creation, create like a time to really tap into our creative spirit. And it is a little, but what keeps coming through me, because when I get out of the way, which, you know, we all have our own thoughts and it should be like this. But when I got out of the way, what I kept getting was, it's all about self-love and nurturing. And the light language that wants to come through feels like it's, and you guys can mute yourself if you want, just so if anything comes up on your end. So the light language that's coming through was all about nurturing ourselves and kind of like the full moon, nurturing the earth, right? Like Mother Nature. Well, we're the creators of our bodies. We're the caretakers of our bodies. And the light language that's coming through is all about just self-love and being in the flow. So we all have these ideas of what should be happening, and it's a time to create. The new moon is an amazing time to create new, but this is also a time to just allow the flow to come in, allow the love, allow this light to open up those creative places within you that have been blocked. But it's not about doing. We have this thing in us where we want to do, go, be. And this is more about just sitting with the flow. And the more we can do that, the easier and the quicker that we're going to open up those blocked places within ourselves, and that the truth is going to come in. Because when we're in anxiety or we're thinking, what is it that we're supposed to be doing? Okay, this is, I'm going to create the new. So I'm going to, we're thinking from our mind, like, how can I do this? How can I be? Should I go learn something new? Should I go take a course? Should I go redo my website? But when we just open up, and sometimes it feels like, okay, well, what does just being mean? Like, am I supposed to sit on my couch and eat bonbons? But it's like the more we can do that and be in the flow, and it's a real practice. This happened to me when I had the concussion a couple of years ago. I'm a cranial sacral woman, and a friend of mine who's an amazing healer kept saying, just be. And I was like, okay, I'm being, but how long am I supposed to just be for? I mean, eventually I have to do something with that creative flow. But the more I could open up and just be, the easier it came in and the quicker it came in and to know what it was that I was supposed to be doing out in the world. And that's kind of what's coming in right now. So the light language that's coming in feels like a very loving, nurturing, like opening up those places in us, which is more like, what is your truth? What's the authenticity? Who are you? And what is it that you're supposed to be putting out into the world? And listening to that. And this is a perfect time, right, for us to be able to listen to the whispers and sit with ourselves. I mean, the earth, the planet, the universe, everything's telling us to go inward and just be and listen to that. So yeah, so that's what's coming in, and let's see what comes through. I'll do some light language, and we'll see if you guys can feel that opening those spaces within you. The spaces for creativity, but also the love, the self-acceptance, the joy, the bliss, and the just being in peace and calm. Okay, so cool. Let's see what comes through. Oh, yeah, yarakrama mo. Whoosh, yeah. Yeah, yarakrama shit. Whoa, we yeah. Whoosh, pa, 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 yeah. Yeah, krama, wa, yeah, shit, krama, yeah. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, krama, yeah, shwa, yeah. Yarakrama, whoa, woo, yarakrama, shit, yeah, yeah, correct, papa, 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 yeah, correct, papa, papa, yeah, woo, yarakrish, yeah, yeah, ooh, yeah. And what I'm hearing is like, if you could see all the beauty and the joy and the love that surrounds you, and you could just open up to that, the amount that's out there for you, if you would just get out of the way, can flow in so easily, because there's so much abundance and joy and love, and our guides are wanting to give this to us, and all we have to do is open. Whew, yeah, 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 rekere mama ma wa, yeah, shira papaka, yeah, kiri 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 kori 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 kiri, yeah, kiri mama, yeah, ooh, yeah, kiri mama, ko, kori kiri 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 kori kiri 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 kori kiri kiri kiri, oh, yeah, kiri 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 kiri. Oh, yere kere kere mama, yere kere kere kere, yere kere kere kere, yere kere kere kere, yere kere 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 kere, oh, yere kere mama, ya, shwere papa papa papa, ya, kere kere kere, yere wore papa 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 papa, ya, yere kere mama, whoa, sh papa papa, wore papa papa, ya, ooh, ya. Wah, yere kere ma, wah, shire papa papa, ya, wah, yere what is shire papa papa, wah, yere kere pa shwa, kere 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 kwa, yere kere kere kere, yere wa, yere kere kere yere ma, yere kere ma, yere kere shwa papa papa papa, ya, shire pa, yere kere ma, ya, rwa, yere papa papa, ya, yere kere papa papa, yere kere ma, yere shwa papa papa, ya, ya, rwa, yere kere ma, ya, shwa papa papa. Yarua, Yerakrama, Yashua, Yarakrama, Yashua, Yarua, Papa, Papa, Ya, Wa, Yerakrama, Yashua, Yerapapa, Yarua, Whoo, Yarakrama, Yahushua. Yeah, that felt good. Did you guys feel that? Whew, I think there's a little more coming through too. So let's do a little bit more. Whoa, yeah, sure. Yere papa 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 papa. Yere kere mama me ya ro papa papa ya sure papa papa. Yere kere ma. Ya rapa papa kere yere ma. Yo sure papa papa. Ya kere ma. Ya yere kere ma mo. Yere kere mo. Ya yere papa papa shire per kere mama mama re wora per yere ya bo. Yere papa. Ya kro papa shi ya kere ma. Ya ro ya. Whoa, yira papa 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 papa. Yeah, roa papa carema. Whoa. Yeah, shwa. Woo. How you guys feeling?
I have a question, Alyssa.
Katrina. Hey, I didn't even see you on there. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
So what? Oh, apparently.
You're going in and out. Katrina.
Sorry. What do you think holds us back from receiving all that?
Our stuff. All our whatever our beliefs are, whatever the energy, like whether it's our it can be your inner child or your negative ego or your adolescent or your, just your beliefs about what you deserve and how much you can really let in.
Yeah. You know, like you do so much work and you figure you've got it all figured out. And then you say you're surrounded by all this and they just want you to leave. And I'm like, okay, there's like some cellophane or something. I
What do
can't
you mean?
even see it, right? It's just like, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm saying yes.
Yeah, well, we all have our blockages, right? So we create these ceilings of how much we'll let in, like how much abundance we'll let in, how much joy, and it's all our belief systems about, from our past stuff, whatever it is that I'm only going to let this much in, or I only deserve this much, or I can only be this creative.
Right.
Right. So it's, to me, it's all like our belief systems about, and it can be whatever, sometimes it's the inner child feeling like you don't deserve, or um you know like any, whatever it is for you, feeling like you set up these beliefs that everything's going to be, you're going to start a new project and it's going to be wildly successful, but then the other shoe is going to drop, or whatever. We all have these different kinds of beliefs, and whatever that is for you will only let in enough of the light at that point.
Right.
And the fact that you're here listening to this, that that's a big thing, that you want, that your soul wants to grow and you're open to this. But then we come up against our blocks, and that's when that's when you want to work on those blocks. And the light language, or anything like this that opens you up, will open that part up. And sometimes, like, that's why people, I joke with friends. A friend of mine jokes with me all the time and says, sometimes I wish I could just be unconscious, because once you start opening up to all this and letting the light in whatever way, not just from the light language, but you start opening up to, you know, looking at all of your stuff and letting the light in, it opens up all those other areas. It can almost be more painful, because then the stuff that's not working is highlighted. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That is what the light language feel like. It feels like it goes in and it's talking to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and it opens you up. And sometimes when you're closed and you're unconscious, well, you don't feel like that. So I explain it, like, people ask me, like, I explain this in my raw food classes too. So here you are vibrating at this certain level, right? This certain vibration. We're all energy, right? So we do vibrate at a certain energy. And then you start lifting your vibration, however, through, eating raw food, through doing energy healing, through, whatever metaphysics and, personal growth stuff you're doing. And then you start resonating right here, right? And you keep resonating higher and higher. Then all the stuff down here doesn't feel as good. You didn't notice it when you were down in the muck with it. But then all the stuff down here, as your vibration raises, all the stuff down here becomes more painful, because there's too much of a disconnect. So one of two things has to happen. You have to numb yourself out again. And people do that all the time, right? With food, alcohol, drugs, whatever. They numb themselves back out, so back down, so they don't feel it and it's not as painful. Or you got to let this stuff go. And that's when you got to start doing the work, the real work. And that's what this light language does, is it expands your consciousness, and it gets in you and opens up those places in you that might have been closed up, or blockages that you didn't know were there.
awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else have any more questions? It's funny, I have to scroll down to see all you guys. I'm still figuring out Zoom, sorry. But I can't see all of you. So if you guys have questions, just shout out.
So how often can we do the light language? And like if we did it every day, is
Mhm.
are those limiting beliefs just going to fall away, or we still have to do the work?
So that's a really good question. So, and it depends. And I think it's a little of both. So the more you do the light language, the more it opens you up. And again, the more your vibration raises. And naturally, some of that stuff will just fall away. You'll realize, I don't need to hold on to this anymore. I don't need to hang on to the stuff that I've been dragging around with me, those old beliefs, those old feelings that don't feel very good, right? But you might run up against a belief that, wow, this is coming up again. This is a major block for me. And I need to look at this. It's my adolescent that felt like I never got enough, or, whatever that is. Then you need to go in and work with the child, with the adolescent, with and that's the stuff, as you know, I love to do, because it's fascinating. I mean, then you go in and there's all different techniques. I mean, maybe I'll do some Zoom stuff like around that, because we all have it, right? It's like, whether our child felt not loved and then our adolescent was like, screw the world, I'm not going to listen to anyone, whatever it is, we all have these things in us. And you have to go in and then deconstruct that and talk to the inner child. And it's not about just, I mean, it's a whole process. I have a whole process for like the inner child, the adolescent. You go in and I actually give people like a 4-week guide on how to work with the inner child. You go in and you talk to them, and you let them talk first and tell you what's going on. And then you have to get them to actually trust you, just like a child, right? They're actually a part of us, but you don't want them to run the show. So you see people who their inner child and adolescent are totally running their lives. And that's when your life becomes chaotic. You don't want them to take control, because they'll run it for, they'll ruin every relationship you have because they are afraid of intimacy. So they'll come up every time you get in a relationship, a romantic relationship, or they'll ruin, your adolescent will ruin your work environment because they don't like to be told what to do. So you have to befriend them, and it's not about getting rid of them. You're never going to get rid of them, but you have to befriend them and then do the work where they know that you're going to be there for them, and you as the adult are going to take care of them and run the show. So there's all different ways to work with these parts, but yeah, the light language will help dissolve. I definitely help a lot of that, raise you to a different vibration, but then it'll show you where you need to work on, what parts of you need to work on too, which is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sure. Anyone else?
I'll say something again.
Yeah.
What comes up for me is that it's that training that says you have to work hard to receive. I think that's what keeps, it's like, yeah, but it can't be that easy. That's what keeps, it's like, no, it can't be that easy. You can't get something for nothing. That I which I never even thought was in me. I thought I was all like easygoing and shit, but
Yeah.
I have some old.
We all think that about ourselves. It's funny. I had a psychic once say to me, you're this like real free spirit, easy going. Everyone thinks you're like super chill, but you have everything planned to a T ahead of you. Like nothing is by chance. So then you can be that free spirit. But no, I love what you said. So time to me is an illusion, right? It's there's really time is man-made. So there's really like your past, present, and future are happening simultaneously. Even your past lives are happening at the same time, which is kind of a odd concept, right? So if you think something's going to take 2 years to heal, or 2 months or 2 weeks, then it will. But if you think it's going to take 2 minutes, it can change in the blink of an eye. And we've all had that experience, right? We've all had something like we're in a great space and everything's great in our lives, and all of a sudden catastrophe strikes. Or the other way, where we're like not in the best space. It's been a lot going on for months and months or years. And all of a sudden we fall in love, and it's like our very vibration changes, and everything starts working out because that energy, right? Because you raise that vibration. So you can change things in a split second, but most people don't believe that you can.
Yeah.
Right? We think it's supposed to be hard and it's going to take time, and it will if that's your belief system. But if you believe it can be quick and easy, then that's what it will be too, because it's your reality. Like this is the illusion. This table, this, chair, me talking to you right now, my jean jacket that I'm wearing, the computer, this is the illusion. The reality is out there. The reality was what was just coming through in the light language, or when you meditate and you feel that bliss state. That's the reality. This is the environment we create from the illusion that we, from the reality that, okay, we want to create this reality. We're going to put all this stuff in there. And this is just the stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah. You're welcome. All right. Well, thank you guys for being on here today.